Okay, some more negative numbers. I know, nice and straightforward for you. Great. So get your heading, lesson objective down in keywords, and dates in Welsh all underlined. Ash, use a ruler. Francis, neat work. Hit pause when you're ready to go through the starter. Hit play. Right, hopefully you've already written starter down. First one, find 27% of 300. Off you go. Hit pause when you're ready to go through the solutions, hit play again. Right then, let's have a look at these questions we've got here. 27% of 300, we do that up here. 10%, always a good one to find. 10% of 300 is equal to 30, good. So 20% will be double that, which is going to give us 60. 5%, because we're going up to 27, can I write 5 here? Yeah, that'll work. 5% of 300, it's going to be half of 10%, which is 15. And then I need 1% of 300. Now 1% divided by 100 gives me 3. I need one more 1%, which is another 3. I can add these together now. Obviously not the 10%, I don't need that. Just add these ones together. 6 plus 1, 6 plus 5 is 11, so 1 carry 1. 6 plus 1, 7, plus another 1 is 8, so 81. Good. Question number 2. 12 out of 30 as a fraction in its simplest form. 12 out of 30 simply means 12 divided by 30. And we need to simplify that. So what goes into 12 and goes into 30? Biggest number. 6 goes here 2 times. 6 goes here 5 times. So we get 2 out of 5. Okay. If you divide it by anything else, then that's a partial simplification. You've got to look for the biggest number. So if you got something like 4 out of 10, you can still simplify that. Okay? That's because you only divided by 3. Right. Question number 3. You need 10 apples. What's the best option for you to get 10 apples? And how much will it cost in total? Really, the best option is 4 and 6. Because then you get 10 apples without any waste. So 4 and 6 will give us is 48p, and 6 will give you 65p. Total of £1 and 3 pence. Okay. Any other option is going to give you is going to cost more, and it's going to give you wastage. What's the distance between Bristol and Dover? There's Bristol, and there's Dover. And we read off where they meet. 205. I've written miles, but we haven't been given units there. So it could be miles, could be kilometers. Best to leave it out. Good. Got a couple more questions for you. There we go. So hit pause, have a go. When you're ready, we'll talk about them. Question number 5. What's the multiplier for a 40% increase? So we're starting at 100 and we're increasing it. So we're going larger by 40%. So that gives us 140% altogether. Oops. As a decimal, that's going to be 1.4. So that's your multiplier. Question number 6. Why might you think there's been a greater increase in complaints to Llancarnfani Castle than to Rosmuch Council? If we look at the graphs, why do we think that there have been a greater number of complaints here than here because of the steepness of the graph. Because this is so steep, it seems to rise rather quickly, whereas here we've got a flatter graph. Even though from 2004 to 2014 there's only been 100, the numbers have increased by 100 here, but here they've increased by 500. So because it's steep, and why is it steep? It's because of the scale they use. If you look at the scale here, it's longer. So because of the scale, creates a steeper gradient. And question 7, what shape is this a net of? Triangular based prism. Okay, so all corrections in green. I want you to go back and rag rate your work. And when you're ready, we move on. So, adding and subtracting with negative numbers, I know. You're going to be very good at these. So to subtract a negative number, if we see two negatives, we treat them as a positive. So if we have 4 minus minus 2, that becomes 4 plus 2, which is simply 6. And if you add a negative number, if you see a positive and a minus, we treat it as a minus. They have to be next to each other. So we've got positive and a negative next to each other. Then we can treat that as a negative. So wherever the signs are different, they become a negative, and it's 3 minus 5. And 3 minus 5 gives us minus 2. Good. So more examples. Let's just put the rules on this side here. If we have a positive and a positive next to each other, that's going to give us a positive. If you have a positive and a negative, negative, negative and a positive is negative. So wherever the signs are different, we get a negative. And if you have two negatives, the signs are the same, it becomes a positive. That's quite an important bit of information. Right, so let's have a look here. 6 minus minus 4, two negatives, so they're going to become positive. 6 add 4, which is 10. We've got minus 5 plus minus 4. We're only looking at where the signs are next to each other. That minus 5 stays as minus 5, doesn't change. Plus and minus means a minus, so you've got a minus 5, plus and minus become minus 4. And a minus 5 minus 4 from last lesson gives you minus 9. 8 minus minus 2, we know two negatives give us a positive, so it's going to give us 8 add 2, which is 10. Positive and negative, signs are different, so it's going to be 2 minus 5, and 2 minus 5 is minus 3. Again, the signs are different, so that's going to give us 12 minus 7, which is 5. And before we move on, we're going to make some notes. So I want you to copy everything on this page, including the cloud. Including the cloud. This is important. Once you're done, you can go through some questions for me. Good. Right, so exercise 3D, start from question 1. Off you go. And on the back then you can carry on with these questions then. So, good luck. And there you go. A little bit larger for you so you can see at the back. And when you're ready, move on to question 2 and onward.